I'm Victor Tiffany with Revolt Against Plutocracy, and this is a short message to the progressive media. There is information that is available and circulating, but not being reported by corporate media, and unfortunately not being reported by progressive media either. And it's very important, because if you don't want Donald Trump to be reelected, you need to tell the people who listen to you what's going on with polling. So let me just do a quick little screen share here. I want this, and let's just come over to this. This is a poll of Bernie supporters from the aftermath of the 2016 election. You can see the tall bar, 78% of them voted for Hillary Clinton. 12% of these Bernie supporters voted for Trump for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into that because it's not important. 8% voted for third-party candidate, mostly Jill Stein. This is the organized Bernie or bust movement. This was completely unorganized. There's no website promoting Bernie or Trump. There's no organization promoting that. These Berners who didn't vote at all probably did so because the corporate media interpreted Bernie or bust as not voting. Add it all up, this is 22% of Bernie supporters of a natural leverage that he has, and nobody's talking about. Corporate media isn't going to describe this. You're not going to hear this discussed on CNN or certainly not MSNBC. Now you're probably thinking, what about this year? You know, that was then. First of all, if you cut these numbers in half, down to 11% total, that would be enough to defeat. That would have been enough to defeat Hillary Clinton, and probably will be enough to defeat the Democratic Party nominee this coming next time. Which, in other words, if it's not Bernie Sanders, under current economic conditions, Donald Trump will be reelected because of this collective leverage that only Bernie Sanders has. If I go to Twitter, where I searched Warren or bust, you can see that there's not much there. You go down here, I have a poll right there. This is September 2nd. I counted 10 Warren or bust. There is no Warren or bust, right? That was from beginning of the year, which is right there. Then above that, these are all the rest. And that's me. Some of them are actually me talking about. This is me talking about this graph and the fact that there is no Warren or bust. So over here, you might be wondering what's going on in terms of Berners who will vote for Trump again. This is an April poll published by the Washington Times. You can see highlighted here, 26% of Berners will vote for Trump, even if it's Elizabeth Warren as the nominee. So this number of Bernie or Trumpers, this 12%, appears to have increased. We're having a hard time verifying that 26%. So you need just a little more information, and then I'll stop this monologue. This is a poll we ran on Facebook. We avoided Bernie or bust pages. We just asked Bernie pages, Bernie groups, and progressive groups. If Bernie Sanders does not win the Democratic Party nominee, you will vote blue or not blue, Bernie or bust. Look at this percentage. Again, you're not going to see that. And we know this isn't scientific, but this is an indicator that this Bernie or bust is still alive and well this time around. The fact of the matter is, whether you approve of Bernie or bust or not, whether you denounce Bernie or bust or support Bernie or bust, doesn't matter. You need to talk about it. Because when you talk about Bernie or bust in any format, in any way, you're telling Democrats what they need to know in order to make a decision to stop Donald Trump from getting elected. We have more information about Bernie's coalition. It would be, of course, the blue no matter who, these 22%, and everybody who supports Bernie. There is Warren or bust. You saw what they were, almost nobody. Biden's donors are going to support Trump. So it'll be the people versus the money if Bernie Sanders is the nominee. And there's independent voters. He's going to lose some independent voters who don't like socialists because they grew up under the threat of communism and they still have Cold War mentality about socialism that you see on social media quite often. But there's also the poor and the poorly educated. According to a study published in 2016 by Thomas Piketty, which I reference in my article on Newsweek. You can search Newsweek and Bernie or Bust and you'll find my article. And there's a hot link to that Piketty study showing, of course it's not, there we go, showing that poor people and poorly educated people will not vote unless there is a social democrat to support on the ballot. And social democrat is the European term for democratic socialist. And these poor and poorly educated people aren't just going to magically show up at the polls to vote for Bernie. They have to be found. They have to be registered. Only Bernie has an army of 1 million people. Only Bernie has BurnApp, a nationwide database of voters in all 50 states and DC. And these volunteers are going around using this app on their smartphones to find voters who aren't registered, to find people who might support Bernie Sanders, and so forth. So you've got a winning coalition where it's just a small percentage of them who will make up the Bernie or Bust faction. There's actually far more of people who will vote for Bernie because he's offering poor people what they need: free education. Poorly educated people who want to pick themselves up and move into the middle class need education, need free education. They can't afford it on their own. They need Bernie Sanders, and they'll come out and support him. So that's part of his winning coalition. If you're wondering how the hell Bernie is going to defeat Trump, that's it. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it.